Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. Here on the program, we share the stories of women and, might I dare say, of men, their traumas, their struggles, and of course, how they are triumphing and not just living but thriving doing so. Here we share how they overcome authentically. Oh Lord, is there such a word? But here they are sharing their story. No camouflage, no covering, just really bearing it all. Because guess what? Uniquely me and them is uniquely you. And so they are representing so many others of you who are looking for someone to be your voice. On the next episode, or should I say this episode, I am going to be just chit-chatting with one of our young men from church. Yeah man, listen, even though no one coming up, but I just want to let you know it's going to be good because all we're going to be doing is chit-chatting and helping so many other of our young people out there. Guys, it's Saturday night. Get some popcorn, get some juice, get some ice cream, get some soup, whatever it is, and come right back. It's going to be awesome in here. Soon come back.
Uniquely me is uniquely you. Balancing the different hats of life, achieving all your goals in the name of Christ. Uniquely me is uniquely you. You can do anything. With the S on your chest, you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. You are a winner and you're an overcomer. You can be all things to Christ who gives you strength. Yeah, you are a fighter. You're so determined. Uniquely me is uniquely you.
Welcome back, guys, to Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. My guest today is Alfred Kelly. Yeah man, season 7, the season of the men. You asked for it and so I'm bringing it to you. But I have Alfred here, and Alfred, you know, so everybody at Angels Open Bible celebrating, jumping up. Because I'm sure they can't believe it that I have you on set. Welcome to Uniquely Me, sir.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure. It is a real pleasure having you here. Can I tell you? And of course, I just want to just big up your mom right off the bat. I know please don't be crying, Sonia. Don't be crying. But Alfred, I wanted to share 3 things about you that nobody don't know. 3 fun things about you.
3 fun things about me that nobody knows. I'm a pretty good swimmer.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I learned how to swim in the country. My cousins in Trelawney by Martha Bray, they actually encouraged me to jump off the bridge.
Dear Jesus.
Yeah, I jumped off the bridge, and then by the time I went back to my grandmother's house, she heard about it. To this day, we can't explain how she know that.
Oh Lord. Did you get a whopping for it?
No. I just got a stern talking to. I was about 21 at the time, so I wouldn't have gotten a...
Okay.
Yeah, but...
I thought you decided to jump off at age 12 or so, but
No.
at age 20 you decided to jump off Bray Bridge.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Alfred, so that's one thing. Tell us 2 other fun things about you. So we know that you can swim. What else?
2 other fun things. Well, for anybody who doesn't already know, I am a huge fitness buff. Yeah, I love fitness. I'm actually a part of a team with a couple other friends. We have our YouTube channel, Calisthenics JA.
Oh.
Where it's basically us specializing in bodyweight specific training.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's that as well. And I'm actually into some weightlifting as well. Powerlifting, every facet of fitness. I'm completely interested and immersed in it.
Oh.
So that's something else.
So it's supposed to see some muscles.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk with you, Alfred, about, just some of the things that our young men go through.
Yeah.
And I want to start off with young men and their self-esteem. Talk with me about young men and their self-esteem. How does childhood or well, between childhood and their moms or maybe their dads, how does that impact their self-esteem? And maybe you want to share your own story too.
Yeah, definitely. It has a lot to do with how men are molded and how men really see themselves as they grow up. Because growing up, I never had a lot of self-esteem. I went to a boys' school. I went to Woolmers. Big up Woolmers. And throughout my time there, I had joined the track team in second form.
Yeah.
But you know, children and especially boys can be really very, very cruel. And I got a nickname. I was called Igor because of
Well, is that a cartoon character?
yeah, like a hunchback kind of guy. Apparently, I wasn't the most handsome guy back then, so they gave me that name. And you know, they'd say that females more would be affected by things of that sort, of that nature, but men too. And I found myself being or having low self-esteem because of it. You know, you'd smile through it because it was like the manly thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, beneath it all, it really affects you because you know, when you go home and you stare in the mirror, you don't see necessarily the beauty. But you're pointing at the flaws. You know, at the time I was looking at the size of my nose. I was looking at my teeth because I don't have perfect teeth. I was looking at my ears. You know, I was thinking, whoa. And then added to that, my father is a very stern man. You know, I give thanks for him still. You know, he helped me a lot sending me to school. But in terms of being emotionally available, he wasn't necessarily the best at that because he's what, you know, people would call like a stoic. You know, he's stone-faced. So my dad really would you know, if there is anything that would be like remotely emotionally expressive, he'd be like, you know, why you behave like this? You know? And to this day, he still struggles with even expressing his own emotions.
Yeah.
And you know, for wanting to be validated by him, because naturally I'm an emotional person naturally, and you know, to because you know I wanted to be him. I wanted to be like him. You know, I bottled up a lot of these emotions, and I tried to really emulate his whole persona.
Yeah.
You know, and that affected me even to the point where it even affected my relationship with my wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my friends and the people around me. So as it relates to like young men especially, I feel like sometimes we don't feel like we have an outlet to release those pent-up feelings and emotions, and it translates a lot into rage. It translates a lot into like your insecurities really coming up to the surface in the forms of you just being not necessarily physically abusive, but emotionally abusive, where you're so withdrawn from emotions that there's no empathy. You can't, like, for example, you're in a relationship and your partner is telling you about an experience, and to you it's like, you know, this is a non-issue. Why are you acting like this? Why are you telling me about this? You know, and really that really was it for me. Growing up fighting, it was a constant battle. Trying to really be expressive and to feel while not feeling at the same time. So it was,
You know, I'm listening to you, Alfred, and some of the things I can identify with my husband, but I'm more concerned about my son. You know, that he could be growing up in such a way now that, and training himself, because I don't think, and you can correct me, I don't think we as women and mothers and wives that we are forcing you to not show your emotions. For want of a better word, I think we are maybe trying to pull it out of you. But I'm watching like my son becoming very not talkative, and if I ask any question, it's okay. It's just nonchalant. It's just it's not expressing himself. It's not talking, you know, and that kind of thing. And I'm saying to myself, he was never abused. He was never what would I say? I think the boy has had a fine life. So why is he moving into this zone of just being so locked down, so kind of, Mom, everything is fine. It's just one word or two word and nothing more. We'll drive from town and come over and we're not talk. What is it? What is preventing our men from talking and them doing it he's 13, 12, 13. Why are they not talking?
I mean, I have the same experience with my little brother now, and he's about to be 16. But to be honest, from my own experience, I feel like it has a lot to do with popular media as well. You know, what we absorb, what we see on the socials, what we see on TV. You know, men really and truly, media embraces this sort of macho man. The archetype man would be like a Arnold Schwarzenegger or a Rambo. You know, it's like kill and then ask questions later. So really and truly, our youth now, we're at a point where over the last few years, we've defined it now as toxic masculinity, where our young men really and truly, they aren't as expressive, and we feel, I think it has a lot to do with our interaction with females as well, because growing up, you know, and beginning to date, you know, a lot of the times when your partner would ask you what's wrong with you, and you actually try to be expressive and to show them, you know, what's going on. There are times where those things are taken and they're thrown back in your face, you know, in the heat of an argument or whatever it may be, whatever the case may be. So men have been, even from a younger age, you know, you're in an argument with a little girl and she might notice something about you, because women tend to be able to pinpoint certain emotional cues. And they'll throw it at you, and so our young men become conditioned to the point where, you know, we recognize that this is something that can be weaponized, and as such we decide that, you know, it's really not that big of a deal. So let's just not talk about it, because it, you know, it'll blow over. But then later on in life, you see it manifesting itself in so many different ways, and then because it's something that you've forgotten, you can't really explain or pinpoint what really is the cause of the frustration. So for that, I feel like it's just him, and I'm speaking from my experience as young as that age, how I became conditioned. Like, you don't feel like you should be talking about it. Your friends aren't talking about it. The men that you look up to aren't talking about the things that are bothering them either. So why should you? And then, you know, you in your interactions with females as well, they weaponize it, so you're closed off.
So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yes.
And so that's why, would you say then that's why we have so many men turning to between the bar, to smoking, that kind of thing, trying to release the tension?
I feel as men, we do recognize and we know that there's something wrong, but we just don't know how to vocalize it or to basically say what it is. So we find outlets. One of my outlets personally became fitness. And I know of guys, I have friends that, you know, their outlets was like smoking weed, especially when they went to university. Smoking, drinking, the late nights, partying.
They stop taking care of themselves, for want of a better word.
Yes, you just stop taking care of yourself, and essentially you're looking for that high to take you away from feeling the pain.
So it's not wanting to, so it's boiling down to not wanting to feel.
Yes.
So we're struggling, it's a struggle of you want to feel, but I don't want to feel.
Yes.
I don't want to express it. And I guess God has made us naturally that we feel.
Yes.
We must feel because it's just part of us. Because if you get a cut, you're going to express the feelings of pain.
Yeah.
And I'm sure just as if you're doing something that delights you, you're going to experience the feeling of joy.
Yeah.
But let's take a switch onto something else, and it's something that you shared in a sermon that you preach.
Yeah.
So those who don't know, this awesome young man also preaches. You preached and you shared something about words that were used to you and how they impacted you, so much so that you found yourself lashing out even at work.
Yes.
When you heard those words. So two of those words were that you had shared was idiot. Are you an idiot? Or you have no sense. And when I listened back to the sermon, I said to myself, how easy it is for us to use those words. You know, yesterday I have some men doing some work for me, and the boss came by and I noticed how he was talking to them.
Yeah.
Them two idiots here. You know, when I idiot, and it just comes so easy for us to be doing it. But I wanted to share how those words, hearing those words at a tender age, as you got older, how those words made you almost aggressive, or maybe to say aggressive, how they impacted you.
Well, to be honest, it started from a very young age. As I said before, I really look up to my father. And my father was really my hero, my Superman, so to speak.
Yeah.
But at around about age 5, 6, 7, things started to change in a way where, in a sense, I'd like to believe that he wanted me to start to understand responsibility. And there were times where, you know, as a child, you know, children don't necessarily always grasp what you're trying to teach them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it translates into, I don't know, for lack of a better word, I say carelessness. And, you know, the first thing my dad would say to me is like, why you do something like that? You're an idiot. And to be honest with you, you know, hearing that for so many years, it began to resonate, and it was like a tick.
Yeah.
It became a tick for me.
Yeah.
To so much so that, you know, it really layered in some insecurities, where to the point where I began to even question my intelligence.
Yeah.
One of my biggest insecurities is my intelligence, or lack thereof. Because for me, I'm always trying to seek out knowledge because I want to get to the level that I believe that I should be at.
Yeah.
And whenever anybody questions that, it really sets off some triggers for me. You mentioned that incident that I had talked about at work. I was at work and I had heard that my supervisor really was, you know, I wasn't grasping the job in the way that he believed that I should have. And so much so to the point that I heard it back from somebody that he was close to, you know, that he was talking about me not getting what I'm supposed to do. And I felt so offended by that, because, you know, you're supposed to be training me. Whatever is happening within those sessions, that should remain between me and you. And it came to a point where he actually came to me and was picking at me about a task that I was doing, you know, and he was like, you know, why are you doing this? And I explained it to him. You know, this is how I understand it, this is why I'm doing it this way. And he just kissed him teeth and walk away. So for me, I'm not a confrontational person, but I'm an emotional person. And if I feel like I'm being wronged, or if I feel like there's something that, you know, I need to get off my chest, I'm going to come and confront you about it. And, you know, I went to him and I said, you know, can I speak to you outside, please? And, you know, his reaction was, speak to me outside for what? So, you know, added to the fact that he was already, you know, triggering my anxiety, and then that response, you know, I became so upset. You know, I'm like, what you mean? And a side of me that they had never known before came out. And you know, when I look back in retrospect on it, you know, I felt so ashamed by my reaction. But at the same time, I was thinking, why was this happening?
Yeah.
And it took me really doing some introspection and reading for me to really understand that those words and you know, that sort of behavior really was a triggering point for me.
So it wasn't anybody that said to you, hold on, something wrong here. So it's just you getting to a point of realizing that, okay, I'm behaving almost out of character then.
Yes.
Getting in touch with one's inner self. How does one get in touch with one's inner self? Because that's kind of what you did, you know.
Yeah.
Got in touch with your inner self. How does one get in touch with their inner self? Or how important is it to get in touch with your inner self?
I'd say it's very important because at the end of the day, you know, who else can tell you who you are but your own self?
Amen.
And it really and truly, where it started for me was I began to read a series of books when I went to university. I had a friend that was an avid reader. And a lot of people don't like these series of books by Robert Greene. The 48 Laws. I read all of that. I've read the 33 Strategies of War. I've read his Laws of Human Nature. And in reading that particular book, there were some quotes and some things that he was saying, and I was like, but this sounds like it's talking about me. So when I delved deeper, I realized that, hey, you know, this might be the trigger, this might be the thing that is causing me to react in this way. And so in identifying it, I started to try to work on myself, which is still an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Because to this day, there are times where, you know, you have people that will, as I said before, you know, people can read emotions. They might not know it, but they have that ability, and people will realize there are certain things about you and try to pick at it. You know, and in so doing, you recognize that this is happening, and then you have to learn how to really develop that self-control.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to react in a particular way that could cost you a relationship, that could cost you even a job.
And that's where I was hoping that you were going, that the realities of what could take place is what kind of jerk, you know, creates that jerk to say, hey, if you decide to get all boisterous and seemingly become aggressive at work, you run the risk of losing a job, and it could be that it's a good job too. You know, and so the risk of losing. But I want to, you mentioned, you know, your dad and wanting to, he was your hero in a sense, and wanting to please him. And I remember you shared something about wanting to pursue a dream of your dad. Should we as parents be persuading our children to pursue our dreams, or should we allow our children to pursue their dreams? And I want you to explain from your own experience.
And uniquely me is uniquely you.
Hi guys, I thought I would share with you, for those of you looking for a Christmas gift or a New Year gift or a birthday gift, for that woman, that strong woman in your life, to offer the Uniquely Me Planner. Now, what can you find in the Uniquely Me Planner? You can find pages to write for each month. You have pages to write your goals, and we set it up so that those goals are SMART, right? As you know, your goals need to be SMART. So we have the specific, the measurable, the attainable, the relevant, and we put them in blocks so that you are able to fill them in accordingly. Also, you will find a daily to-do list, as well as for each day, if you need to put your calendar, what your calendar items will be, you have that as well. There's also a habit tracker, guys, or as well as a quote. There is a list for you to put what are your list of priorities in terms of things to be done. And of course, guys, I want to or we have pages and pages of that. We give you blank pages as well. So this is also, it is your diary, it's your planner, it's your time management tool is what I would call it. I want to encourage women who are creatives, women who are executives out there as well. You are trying to find a way to be productive. Here is your tool. And so guys, it's on Amazon. Just put in Uniquely Me Planner, or you can put in Simone Stewart and grab a copy of my Uniquely Me Planner. Guys, remember, Uniquely Me is uniquely you. Get your copy today.
And uniquely me is uniquely you.
Should we as parents be persuading our children to pursue our dreams, or should we allow our children to pursue their dreams? And I want you to explain from your own experience.
All right, so really and truly, my father enlisted in the army in the, I think it was the late 80s, mid to late 80s, but he was told that he had a heart condition and he had to leave. So initially, he had asked if I wanted to join after sixth form, but I had said no. And I was now going to Caribbean Maritime. Finished in 2018, and he made the proposal again because he had a friend who was a sergeant in the army, and he was saying that he could make some calls to see if I could get into the selection board. And I said, sure, why not? Because, of course, I thought it to be a very good profession because of the fact that, of course, I wanted to be like my father.
Yeah.
So when I expressed my interest, he was happy. So really and truly, it comes to the point where parents are like, they're trying to live like vicariously
Through their children. And I will agree with you because I can't swim.
Yeah.
But both my children swim. And so they've been learning to swim since they were 2.5. And so I will go to all the swimming classes. I did all the stuff, so early they started because I couldn't swim and I still can't swim. My daughter wanted to go do dancing and stuff. So yes, I must admit, and I do see my husband doing some things that I said to myself, he might try to live through some, But
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I did it. Got the call and went up to Newcastle. And to be honest, it really was like a test of character, more so than physicality. The physicality was grueling. In fact, I had actually mentioned that when I came back, my knee, my right knee was completely blown out. I had to go to a friend of mine that does physical therapy to get some shock therapy for the knee for it to come back. Yeah, but while there, I had actually passed. So I called my father. This was after we spent, what was it? About 3 days in Newcastle. And I called my father to tell him that I had passed, and he was so elated. The only other time I heard him that happy after I'd accomplished something was when I had passed for Wolmer's.
Wow.
Yeah. So
don't tell me he went to Wolmer's.
No, he didn't. So it was such a joyous moment for me because I was making myself proud, and by extension him as well.
Yeah.
And he came for me up there. He said, let's go celebrate, and we were there just anticipating what was to come next. But then after that period, I formed a WhatsApp group with the rest of the guys that had passed, and we were waiting for the call, and one of the guys got a call, and he was unfortunately eliminated after we had passed initially. Yeah. Because he had the sickle cell trait. So we were like, but you have the trait. It's not like you have full-blown sickle cell, but upon doing research, we realized that that's a thing that will automatically eliminate you. Oh. And then another one actually got the call and he went. So we were left. It was like the 5 of us left from like approximately 60 odd guys that had come there.
Wow.
So then he went and another guy got the call and he was turned down as well. I can't remember for what reason. But then I was there now becoming anxious. So I'm like, I hope everything is all right. And my dad was like, you did identify nothing. And I said, no, nothing wrong with me. So I said, well, just go and wait. So until I took it upon myself to call.
Right.
And they had patched me into what was his rank again? A major. And he had told me that he pulled my files and told me that I wasn't selected, unfortunately. So I asked him why, and he said there was an irregularity in my spine, which would suggest that I may have scoliosis.
Oh.
Which is something that I never anticipated, because I was a fitness guy. In preparing for that, I used to run from, and where I lived in Angels with Mom. So I used to run from there to Eltham High School.
Wow.
And back. And then after that, I'd do a weight session. So I was just trying to really be at such a conditioned level that, I couldn't be turned down. And then, after all the things, this happened. And it broke me.
Yeah.
It really did.
Did it break you because you weren't accepted, or did it break you because you think you were disappointing your dad?
Both. Both. Both, because I really and truly, I was looking at the fact that, had I accomplished that, I'd have been able to really take care of everybody. That really was my goal.
Yeah.
My dad is a taxi operator.
Yeah.
And my mom is an accounting clerk.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't, severely disadvantaged, but you want, as children, a lot of the times we look at the fact that, we owe a lot to our parents because of the investment that they have made.
Yes.
And I just wanted to make sure that everybody was good.
Yeah.
And that really hit me.
Yeah.
Because, upon realizing what happened, I could feel the disappointment that my father felt, not necessarily in me, because he knew that I gave my all.
Right.
But the fact that that happened, and he was like, make we go do an x-ray to see if we can contest the decision, and no, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not because again, a lot of persons would say it's failure. Is it failure or is it slow to start? What would you call it?
Initially, admittedly, I thought it was failure because, I was depressed. I was locked up in my room. My mom would come and check on me to see if I'm okay, and I'd just say, yeah, man, I'm good. Yeah. I'd go about my regular routine, like everything was fine. So she was concerned, but she was just watching from afar to see really what would happen. And at that point, I thought that, hey, this is a massive failure because I just graduated from school. I was working full time and going to school full time. So I was going to school in the mornings and then going to work in the night.
Wow.
Yeah. So there are many classes that I was sleeping.
So you were pushing it, man.
Yeah, I was really pushing it, and that disappointment, because I was like, here's the chance for me to really step out of school and walk straight into a job that would potentially set me up for life.
Yeah.
And, the lives of my family as well. And, it didn't work out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But now, looking back in hindsight, I've realized that, that just wasn't where God wanted me to be.
Ah.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you're going there because I want to talk about men and Christ, or men and the church.
Yes.
It is believed that young men like yourself, not supposed to talk about God business. are not church business. You guys, you need to be having, as Beanie Man that said, enough girl and girl in a bongo.
Yeah.
And you need to be burning your big spliff, or you have a whole heap of money or something. But sitting down in church is definitely not the same.
Yeah.
But you are the opposite. You're not just in church. You're not just preaching in church. You're married. What would have made you a young man? Young, because I remember when I heard you were getting married, huh? Young man, take on them big people things here. What would have made you do that?
To be honest with you, it has a lot to do with my wife as well. I wouldn't say that, you know, I was necessarily ready to really take that leap, but I'm about to be 27 now, and we've been together since I was 21. She was 19 at the time, but she really, I grew up with her, so to speak.
Yeah.
Being with her really let me learn how to treat a woman and how to be a man. And you know, it just came to the point where I really realized that, hey, you know, the lifestyle that a lot of the guys my age was living, it really wasn't something that was appealing for me. After you know, really evaluating where my life was headed, you know, I thought, why not settle down now?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I got engaged at 23.
Wow.
So,
People, your business are come out now. I would never know that.
Yeah, I actually got engaged right after the selection board, and in anticipation of passing, of course. But you know, we were dating for 2 years previously, and you know, I was thinking, you know, like with the whole heap of girls and all of that, you know, I've seen how my friends lived, and from my own experiences as well, you know, it was just a waste of time. You're just prolonging the inevitable, because it eventually, after a period of time, you're going to want to settle down. Everybody wants companionship.
Right.
So why not just take that leap of faith now?
We're listening to you, and you're a lot deeper than we've thought. And I'm sure some persons listening, and we're talking about our inner circle that we know, they're saying that they've never heard Alfred talk like this before, you know. What has married life been like?
Admittedly, a lot of ups and downs, even though it's been such a short time.
Yeah. And short meaning is what, 2 years now, no?
Yeah, almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. To be honest, you know, in the first few months, you know, it took a lot of getting used to, especially like I'm not necessarily the most neat person, so. As I hear, it's a thing with men.
Yeah, man. Every man and knock the desk right away.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
So I would come home and just put my shoes in the corner or something, and then she'd come and say, "No, I don't want it right here. So there's a designated space." And you know, things like that would start little arguments, and you're like, "Why you fuss about this? The positioning of plates in the dish drainer, you know." Asking me my opinion on colors of curtains when I only know the primary colors. Yeah, tell me about fuchsia and periwinkle, and I'm like, what is this? And those are colors for real? You know, little things like that. But there are times where there have been disagreements where you where you have to be, as the man, you have to lead and, you know, assure her that things will be okay. And you know, that for me was something that I had to grow into, because you know, a lot of the times as men, our fathers are there, but they don't necessarily teach us how to do certain things. You know, they expect it to just come naturally. And it really took a lot of me being pensive and, you know, and doing a lot of introspection to realize that, hey, you know, you're not the only one alone. You're not just dealing with your issues as well. No, you have to deal with somebody else's. And you have to be empathetic, and you have to be able to show that you can relate, and be that counsel and guide that she needs as well. So for that purpose, really, I tell any young man that you need to get married, because marriage really and truly makes the man. I really believe that.
Would you then say that knowing Jesus, and we're about to wrap up, knowing Jesus, your experiences that you had, all has culminated to this place now where you are as a husband, as a man now? Would you say that all of that has brought you to this? You had to go through all of that to get to this place that you can be the husband, the man, the to-be father figure?
Yes, definitely. Especially coming from a time where I had professed agnosticism. I just believed that there was a God, but I didn't necessarily believe that it was Jesus. So, because of, when you get to a higher level of education, you start being exposed to a lot of different theories. I was doing sociology, so I was reading a lot of those guys like, Durkheim and Dostoevsky and all of those guys, and it really changed my perspective. And obviously my mom became concerned with that, because our little boy, when she grew in a church, is like him really interested in them things no more. But it came to a point where actually I had a friend who is an Adventist, and him invited me for study one day, and there were questions that I found that ministers couldn't answer, that he could. And one of the things that really brought me back was the fact that he said, why would you want to worship a God that you can completely understand? If you can completely understand him, then there's no real reason for you to worship him. Because if you can understand him completely, he's not worthy of that worship. You're above that. You're above him. So in hearing that, I was like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. Because really and truly, if you can pinpoint everything, every detail about a particular thing, then you've conquered it. So with that being said, it really reignited my belief. And no, I still struggle, but there are times where, I remember that conversation, and I think, I think of everything that he has done for me up to this point. And I'm so thankful.
So let's get it all the way. You don't understand God.
No, I don't think anybody can completely understand God.
We can't. No. And as you shared the point, I remember the scripture that says that we would take a wood. It's in Isaiah. We would take a wood. We would cut a piece of it to cook, to warm ourselves. We'd use another piece to prepare our food, and then we make a god out of the other part and bow down to it. And when the Lord said that, he says, to whom will you compare me?
Exactly.
So you're right. If it is that my God, I can understand my God, then how is he superior to me? So I'm happy that the Lord has brought you to the place that he is incomprehensible. Incomprehensible, right, if that's the word. As we're about to wrap up, sir, the struggles that some of our young men go through. I would love for you to share. And I'm doing that because this platform is really about women. But we don't understand men. And I am sure men will say they do not understand women at all. Just ask my husband and he would tell you, no, he don't understand. He would often say, he doesn't know if women can ever be understood. But we will say, we don't know if men can ever be understood. But I don't know if you can just share with us 3 things, 3 struggles that men go through that you wish women would know or be a little bit more understanding.
All right. First of all, mental health, mental struggles. Men oftentimes, as was mentioned before, we're not very vocal, and there are a lot of traumatic experiences that we have that we don't necessarily want to relive.
Yeah.
So we don't talk about them. But I feel like as women, we're not saying that women should necessarily be, the therapist or the person that, he just comes to all the time. But what I would say is that try empathy, try to really understand that there is a struggle there and encourage him to speak about it over a period of time.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily ask him to do it right away because you'll never get him to do that.
I know.
Yeah. But the fact that you've shown interest, that will really show him that there's somebody there that he can talk to about it when he feels comfortable, of course. Another thing, I'd say like sexual temptations, really. That's something that men struggle with, and a lot of married men falter because of the flesh. But I'd say for men, you have to remain prayerful. And I actually got this nugget from pastor during counseling, So if you see somebody where you like, talk to your wife about it. And when you talk to your wife about it,
Can you see my face?
Yeah, I see your face. I see your face. But it's actually worked for me where I mention it, and upon seeing my wife's face and the reaction and that feeling just gone. So you just...
What did she do? Did she do like this and really take you in?
Yeah,
or did she give it a look like?
No, it's like, what I say? Yeah, and then I'm like...
and you're like, what am I saying again?
Yeah, what did I say to you? But then after that, it goes. So, I don't know if women necessarily experience that kind of thing like men, but I think that it's something that I don't know if women will ever be able to empathize with men about, because...
No. I guess women, this is a part here. Right here, ladies, please let me know. How do you deal with your partner coming in to say to you, there's a girl down the road, round like Coca-Cola vodka, look good, and he likes her? Please tell me what would you say and do. Put it in the comments, please.
I just got thrown under the bus. The third thing, what would I say the third thing would be no? I've mentioned mental, I've mentioned the sexual. Faith for men. Faith. Men are hardwired to really take charge and to go out at the forefront and just, take up the responsibility to just do things, not be dependent. And I find that that's something that's a big thing that affects us, where we don't feel like we should ask for help. And even with the simplest things, you do something at the house and your wife might see, like you fix a pipe and she might say, say if you pull like this the whole of the place I go wet up. And you're like, no, I don't want to hear that. And then you pull it and then you have to come back humble and apologize to say, I should have listened to you. So I feel like that translates to our belief in God, really, because a lot of the times we don't want to go to God with our issues, because we feel like, hey, we have to solve this. We're feeding into our egos, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So in that too, I'd say that when that feeling comes, you have to remember that you have to pray away that pride, because that pride really and truly can be the death of you, quite literally.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Yeah. I think 10 years from now, I want to interview you again. and to hear, and I say that because, and ladies, again, you can identify. So for instance, I know if my husband is to step over here, he's going to trip.
Yeah.
And I'll say to him, boo, you're going to trip if you move over there. And he does the same, like he literally, let me give a perfect example. And he can be mad all he wants. We were in this place the other day. Granted, yes, the two of us were to one side.
Yeah.
His mask was a little bit down, so I looked over and I said, pull your mask up. And so he pulled the mask down. So I looked over and I thought he didn't. So he said, what did you say? And I said, pull your mask up. Remember, no, we're in this place, this crowded place.
Yeah.
And I said, pull your mask up. And he pulled it further down. And so I looked around and he said again, what did you say? So I'm thinking he didn't hear me. I said, pull your mask up. And he took the mask off. So I'm like, at that point I realized he was being his usual comical self that is about to run my pressure up. So I did this. Because at this point, I ain't talking to you. So it is so good to just hear you acknowledging that men, I don't know, I don't want to add any words here, but I will say, just for camera's sake, men just do their own thing.
Yeah.
And then pay for it and drag us behind them.
Yes. I can't deny it. There are times where my wife will say certain things to me too, and like, why you bother me? You bother me for? I'm just gonna do it same way, and then I realize she just said the right thing. And I have to come back and you did that, and you're like,
Alfred, let me tell you something. I had a wonderful time chatting with you.
Yes.
I've gotten to understand you a little bit better.
Yes.
And I'm hoping too that you would have gotten a chance to understand yourself a little bit better.
Definitely.
As we wrap up, some young men watching this, and we want to encourage our young men to find themselves. We also want our women to understand that our young men and our young boys do suffer from self-esteem, and a lot of what we do, a lot of the seeds we plant as parents, that they affect them. If you could find or give one quick advice, just one advice, both to our young men and to our parents, one advice that will go across the board, what would that be?
I'd say to really and truly to love intentionally, and to ensure that in that expression of that love, that it is genuine, and that they feel that you are there for them.
Yeah.
I'd say that.
I like that. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
And allowing us to understand it's okay to feel.
Yes, it is.
Bridget, I don't know. Let me just. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it for yourself. Men sharing themselves quite vulnerably and allowing us to understand them so much more. If you truly enjoyed this episode, please put your comment down below which part of this interview you enjoyed the most. And for my angels, OB people, want to think about Alfred, want to know more about Alfred business. Listen guys, take care. Next week we'll have another unique story, and so don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and share. See you next week. Bye bye.
Uniquely me is uniquely you.
Hi guys, I thought I would share with you, for those of you looking for a Christmas gift or a New Year gift or a birthday gift, for that woman, that strong woman in your life, to offer the Uniquely Me Planner. Now, what can you find in the Uniquely Me Planner? You can find pages to write for each month. You have pages to write your goals, and we set it up so that those goals are SMART, right? As you know, your goals need to be SMART. So we have the specific, the measurable, the attainable, the relevant, and we put them in blocks so that you are able to fill them in accordingly. Also, you will find a daily a daily to-do list, as well as for each day, if you need to put your calendar, what your calendar items will be, you have that as well. There's also a habit tracker, guys, or as well as a quote. There is a list for you to put what are your list of priorities in terms of things to be done. And of course, guys, I want to, we have pages and pages of that. We give you blank pages as well. So this is also, it is your diary, it's your planner, it's your time management tool is what I would call it. I want to encourage women who are creatives, women who are executives out there as well. You are trying to find a way to be productive. Here is your tool. And so guys, it's on Amazon. Just put in Uniquely Me Planner, or you can put in Simone Stewart and grab a copy of my Uniquely Me Planner. Guys, remember, Uniquely Me is uniquely you. Get your copy today.
And uniquely me is uniquely you.
Who am I really? Choices, choices, choices. In pursuit of a career? OMG, I'm a wife. Help, I am a mother. Oh, I'm in church. When do I get to be a woman that God called me to be? Uniquely Me covers the acrobatic endeavors of every woman to balance the responsibilities of being a mother, a wife, a professional, a church leader, a friend, yet still maintain her identity. I too am a mother, a wife, a trained minister of religion, a banker, an entrepreneur trying to balance the many hats that signifies my role. My book will help motivate and empower every woman who is really unique in her own way. Grab your copy today on Amazon, because Uniquely Me is uniquely you.
Thank you for tuning in to Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. Remember, Uniquely Me is uniquely you.